हेलो एवरीवन। क्या हाल चाल, कैसी चल रही है आप लोगों की प्रिपरेशन? चलो फिर आज हम लोग एक टॉपिक स्टार्ट करते हैं यूजीसी नेट सिलेबस से, विच इज यूनिट 2 फेमिनिस्ट थिंकर्स एंड थ्योरीज। ठीक है। तो ये जो मैंने रेड में हाईलाइट किया है, आज हम लोग उन टॉपिक्स को देखेंगे, विच इज लिबरल फेमिनिज्म, मार्क्सिस्ट फेमिनिज्म, रेडिकल एंड सोशलिस्ट फेमिनिज्म। एंड एट द सेम टाइम हम लोग जो ये फेमिनिस्ट थिंकर्स हैं उनको भी पैरेलली देखते चलेंगे। ओके, चलो फिर हम लोग सबसे पहले बात करते हैं कि ये जो चार फेमिनिज्म है, लिबरल, मार्क्सिस्ट, रेडिकल और सोशलिस्ट फेमिनिज्म, ये एक फॉर्मेटिव फेमिनिज्म है। फॉर्मेटिव क्या होता है? In early 19th and 20th century, when feminist movements were gaining momentum, उस समय में these early theories and political influences, they shaped these feminist movements. ठीक है, इनके जो आइडियाज थे, थ्योरीज थे, इन्होंने इन मूवमेंट्स को काफी मोमेंटम दिया था। नाउ इसमें ये जो मूव डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ फेमिनिज्म है, ये आप लोग देखोगे कि इट इज अबाउट हाउ women were, what exactly women had to go through, उनके causes क्या थे, फिर उनके consequences क्या हुए, and what possible strategies did women support themselves to gain the liberation। ठीक है, तो ये चीज हम लोग आगे देखते हैं। Now the very first is liberal feminism, and liberal feminism gained its momentum around 18th and 19th century. For all those of you who have a little background, also know that इसी point पे first wave of feminism was also gaining the momentum. Now, the first wave of feminism was talking about the suffrage movement, which was the right to vote. And liberals, they advocate that any kind of legal and political reforms can help us achieve the gender equality. ठीक है, तो ये जो फर्स्ट वेव ऑफ फेमिनिज्म में जो थिंकर्स और जो फेमिनिस्ट जो फर्स्ट they stood first, was all these were known as the liberal feminist। ठीक है, और उनका एक बहुत ही सिंपल कॉन्सेप्ट है, एक अगर समरी में कहें तो टू अचीव द जेंडर इक्वालिटी देयर शुड बी सम काइंड ऑफ लीगल एंड पॉलिटिकल रिफॉर्म्स, एंड वी टॉक अबाउट इक्वालिटी, रैशनैलिटी एंड इंडिविजुअल डिग्निटी, सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ, ऑल्सो द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ सिविल राइट्स। ठीक है, तो ये चीज होता है। नाउ we see some of the very renowned liberal feminists, and the very first of them is Mary Wollstonecraft. She has written a book, A Vindication of Rights of Women. And in her book, she talks about how education is important for women, how women should enroll themselves in different courses, and they should step out and take up a job or involve themselves into economic sectors for their empowerment, for their betterment or better life. Then again, we have other feminists, Taylor and Mill, and Betty Friedan, who talk, उनकी एक book है The Feminine Mystique, which also is a very popular book. So, uh, you know, अगर आप देखो तो मैंने इनको एक chronologically अरेंज किया है। Now, this is also a question that UGC have been asking, that how and the books were being published. So you need to keep all this. The second kind of question that UGC asks is which of the following are the liberal feminists? So you need to remember their names, some names, popular, jo important names hai, and then you will be good to go. Now, the next kind of feminist are the Marxist feminism. And Marxist feminism was around 1880s. So we all know how Marxism, Karl Marx have been talking about how capitalism is a root of all the oppression among. There are haves and the have-nots. But for when it comes to women, but Karl Marx, he did not really talk about keeping women perspective. Like there are many critics talking about this. So So the other person, Engels, did take a note of that, and Engels, he wrote about the gender division of labor in the primitive society. ठीक है? और उन्होंने ही ये मार्क्सिस्ट फेमिनिज्म को एक तरीके से मोमेंटम इट ऑल गेन, एंड हाउ इट वाज there was a and the historical materialism, and different kinds of societies and the gender roles and sexual division of labor. So this is how the Marxist feminism talks about it. उनका ये कहना है that how women are like in the contemporary debates, and if you talk about there are debates that women जो कि एक अनपेड डोमेस्टिक लेबर करती हैं, वो हमेशा एक अंडरवैल्यूड या अनरिकॉग्नाइज्ड रहती हैं. नाउ दीज हाउसवाइफ्स हु आर टेकिंग केयर ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन, द ओल्ड एज पीपल, getting up the first in the morning and sleeping the last, are usually still being unrecognized. Unko, like people do not appreciate their efforts, and it's just been like कि ये तो उनको करना ही है, being taken for granted. And also, there are other theories that support that these economic growth that we have, the GDP increase, is because women are, like the invisible unpaid labor who have been taking care of the men who go out to work. So they talk about how women should be like stepping out, going into the economic sector, finding a job for themselves, and there. But at the same time, these unpaid domestic labors, or under how women are being like, paid less as when compared to men. These are some of the issues being raised by Marxist feminism. Now, as I told, the one who proposes Marxist feminism is Elizabeth Armstrong. And there are other feminists here, like I told you. इनकी एक बहुत ही एंगल्स की बहुत ही famous book है, The Origin of Family, Private Property and the State, which talks about the gender roles and the sexual division of labor of women in the primitive society. Then there are other books, and so on and so forth. ठीक है? Now, the third kind of feminism is the radical feminism. And radical feminism, it gained momentum somewhere around 1960s. और उस समय में the second wave of feminism was gaining the momentum. So, अगर radical is a word which means roots. And they believe that root of all the problems, all the oppressions that the women have to go through is by patriarchy. So they blame patriarchy for anything and everything that happened in women's life. Okay. And उस समय में, when the second wave of feminism was gaining the momentum, उस समय में reproductive rights of the of women were also coming into the play. Now they believe that men have been controlling women body, their sexuality, their right to choices, their economic production, mobility, and the reason why women are still, like being still invisible. So the radical feminism के लिए एक simple term है that patriarchy is the social root of all the female oppressions. Okay. Now, Firestone की एक book है, The Dialectic of Sex, which was being published in 1970, which was around the radical feminist as when it was gaining momentum. And she was talking about how reproduction is actually, like limiting the women achievements or limiting the choices of the women in various different ways, be it her right to choice over her own body, or her sexuality, or there are a lot many examples. We are not going to the detail right now. Then again, we have other writers or thinkers who talk about how modern reproductive technologies are a trap for women, like maybe the IVF, or the RT, assisted reproductive technology, so on and so forth. ठीक है, तो ये कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स हैं. अब ये बहुत ही फेमस वर्क है फायरस्टोन की, वो आप याद रखेंगे. Now, the last we have is a socialist feminism, which was around 1970s, and it is a blend of capitalism and patriarchy. Now, it has a two different kind of approach. The one that I highlighted in red have been asked, like the questions पूछे गए हैं, the dual system theory, and it says that they are the both patriarchy and capitalism are two different forms, yet they are related. And the second one is unified system theory, which talks about no, they are one single entity. ठीक है, तो ये वाला आप इन सारी चीजों को याद रखोगे. एंड ऑफ कोर्स सोशलिस्ट फेमिनिज्म इज ब्लेंड ऑफ बोथ मार्क्सिस्ट फेमिनिज्म एंड रेडिकल फेमिनिज्म. सो ये लास्ट में आया था, तो इट हैड टू बी. Some of the famous socialist feminists are, we have the names on here on the screen. Gail Rubin is one of a very renowned socialist feminist, Iris Young, ठीक है, Juliet Michelle, so on and so forth. नाउ एक समराइज कर लेते हैं. और ये जो मैंने एक ये किया है, ये दे हैव बीन आस्किंग क्वेश्चन सच एज द मैच द कॉलम के तरीके से इन्होंने ये क्वेश्चंस को भी पूछा है. सो आप इसको अच्छे से एक नोट डाउन कर लो. द लिबरल फेमिनिज्म इज अबाउट द सिविल राइट्स, इक्वालिटी एंड एवरीथिंग. मार्क्सिस्ट फेमिनिज्म इज अबाउट कैपिटलिज्म, radical patriarchy, and socialist feminism, capitalism and patriarchy. ठीक है, तो ये लोग इस तरीके से मैच द कॉलम्स में कई बार क्वेश्चंस देखे गए हैं. और इस पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक से हर बार एक क्वेश्चन तो रहता ही है, और बहुत अलग अलग वेरियस फॉर्म्स में रहते हैं. 2-3 क्वेश्चन, 4 क्वेश्चन तक गए हैं, तो आप इन टॉपिक्स को बहुत ही अच्छे से समझोगे. ओके, नाउ वी विल सी सम क्वेश्चंस हियर. तो इन्होंने पूछा है कि अरेंज द फॉलोइंग बुक्स इन द ऑर्डर एज दे अपीयर, लाइक आई टोल्ड यू. एंड लुकिंग इनटू दीज ऑप्शंस, आप देख सकते हो कि सबसे पहले वी डू नॉट नो, मैंने अभी तक ये द लास्ट ऑप्शन इंट्रोड्यूस नहीं किया, द सेकंड 6, वी विल टॉक अबाउट दिस लेटर. तो सबसे पहले तो हमारा बी होगा, बिकॉज दिस इज द फर्स्ट, लाइक आई टोल्ड यू, अ वेरी सिस्टमैटिक बुक. सो पहला हम लोग का बी है. नाउ वी नो दैट we do not know what D stands for, but we have some idea that इसके बाद C था. So we have this B and C, then we have D, and then the last is option, because we know that A is written somewhere in 1974. So yes, so the correct option here is D. ठीक है. नाउ द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज एंगल्स रोट द बुक. ये हम लोग सब अभी देखे हैं. ऑरिजिन ऑफ फैमिली, प्राइवेट प्रॉपर्टी एंड द स्टेटस इज अ वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन, एंड दे हैव बीन आस्किंग क्वेश्चंस लाइक दिस. सो यू नीड टू रिमेंबर कि आपको पता होना चाहिए ना दैट ही इज अ मार्क्सिस्ट, एंड देन यू कैन जस्ट राइट द अदर बुक्स. ठीक है, तो ऑप्शन सी इज द राइट ऑप्शन. Then, who among the following the first propounded the theory of liberal feminism? Now, we do not know who the fourth person is. अगर आप ऑप्शन में देखो, William, ऐसे he is a Marxist, but we know that the first 3 of them are the liberal feminist, and they are asking who is the first one. तो we all know that अगर हम लोग जैसे अभी देखें कि मेरी वोल्स्टोनक्राफ्ट is the first person who propounded. ठीक है, तो इसका सही ऑप्शन आपको ऑप्शन सी हो जाएगा. ठीक है, तो लाइकवाइज आप चीजों को पढ़ोगे, उसको डॉट्स को कनेक्ट करोगे, एंड द इजियर यू मेक योर प्रिपरेशन, द बेटर इट विल बी ऑन द डे ऑफ द लाइक जब एग्जाम्स के दिन आपको होगा. So, as you all know, we are starting with a new foundational course for women studies, and there are few of you who have already joined this course. For all those who are still not sure कि क्या करना है, so let me just brief you about this. We are starting this batch from 28th of July, which is this Monday, the coming Monday. So we are starting the batch then, and it will be up till mid of November. हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे कि इसको complete कर दें. इसमें हम लोग यूजीसी के जितने भी सिलेबस हैं टॉपिक वाइज, हम लोग उसको एक डिटेल एक्सप्लेनेशन PYQs के साथ उसको देखेंगे, जैसे मैंने अभी एक्सप्लेन किया. At the same time, I will be giving you the PDFs. You don't have to worry. But yeah, I would suggest अगर आप खुद से notes बनाओगे and how to prepare the notes, I will be talking about this in the coming lectures. I think the पहला lecture में ही I will be talking about how to approach this exam, how to prepare notes and कैसे क्या strategies रखना है. So try not to miss this first class. ठीक है? For those of you who really want to join, I would suggest कि आप join कर लो. Then also we will be talking about the current affairs. So उसके लिए आप लोगों को एक newspaper पढ़ना है. And the more and more you read by your own self, it will be easier for you. But otherwise also, I will be doing that for you. I will be there. मतलब न्यूज़पेपर एंड जो गवर्नमेंट वेबसाइट्स हैं आई हैव बीन डूइंग वो हम लोग देख लेंगे. ठीक है. लाइव डिस्कशंस होगा तो यू कैन ऑलवेज आस्क क्वेश्चंस एंड आई विल बी देयर. आप कभी भी मुझे रीच आउट कर सकते हो. आई विल बी देयर फॉर यू. यू कैन जस्ट कीप if you have any doubts you can just reach out to me. So this is here. You can enroll yourself from downloading the app available here. And if you feel like there is something you would like to know more, you can reach out to CP Yadav sir or you can reach out to me and we will guide you through the same. ठीक है? So we are starting the batch from this Monday, coming Monday. So I know it's a little early, but examination की काफी सारे syllabus हैं and we need to cover that. So yes. Okay, चलो फिर I'll see you एंड अच्छे से पढ़ो और ओके चलो टेक केयर. थैंक यू.